Hello everyone, I thought tonight I'll show you how to make a very simple face mask, and I've made this one out of Liberty Lawn. The reason I've chose Liberty Lawn is because it's so light to wear and the fabric is very tightly woven, and also it doesn't fray when you're sewing. I'll just pop it on and let you see what it looks like. It's made from 2 layers of lawn and a layer of non-iron interfacing. I'll just pop it on and let you see. And then this expands. It's got 3 pleats, so this expands and covers all of your face and your chin there. And I've just put a little bit of contrasting fabric on the side. Okay. So to make the mask, I don't know whether you want a pad and paper to write all the measurements down. What you need is 2 pieces of lawn, and this is 7 inches by 6.5 inches. A piece of non-fusible interfacing. Now this is a Violene interfacing and it will wash at 95 degrees. So good if you're washing your masks in very hot water. And the contrasting piece that I've used on the side is 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Okay. Now the first thing we've got to do is put in the little folds across the middle of the mask. And to do that, I'll just measure it out on this one for you. Take a ruler and a pen and measure down from, working from the piece of fabric that has the 7 inches across the top. So this is the top of the mask. Measure down 1.5 inches and then measure up from the bottom 1.5 inches. Now these are the 2 distances that I want you to keep on the end of your mask, just for seam allowance and everything else. Right, so the first thing you want to be doing is putting a pleat in with that little mark, and it's about 1/4 inch pleat, and then popping a pin in. And where you've got the other little mark, make sure you pleat on the mark itself and keep your fabric, all your pleats going in one direction. So pleating up to the mark, about 1/4 inch, and pop another pin in. And then if you take your centre point of this and just pop another little pleat in. Now the size that you need to be pleating to is approximately 4.5 inches. So if you just sort of expand your tape measure and your fabric and you make that little pleat. They're all roughly about 1/4 inch pleats, and then you've got your 3 little pleats along the one side of your fabric. Now if you do exactly the same on this side as well, exactly the same on your other piece, so you'll end up with 2 pieces pleated across the middle like that. Now I've worked with the Violene separately as well, so I've actually pleated the Violene in the same way. Once you've got your pleats in, press them with an iron to make sure they stay, and then stitch across all the edges to hold your pleats down. So you'll need to do that on both pieces, so you'll end up with something looking like this. You can see on the back there and on the front there. So I've held it down with the sewing machine. I've just stitched a normal stitch down both edges, about 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now with the little side pieces, that you've cut out, these 2.5 by 4.5, if you just turn over 1/4 inch, press it with the iron, same on the other side, and then fold your piece together and press the little rectangle like that, so you've got a fold running along this edge. Now the thing to do next is, once you've got those stitched in, which you will have first, then pop your little folded piece on both ends of the mask. So this one will go on the end of here, and you will have about 1/4 inch seam allowance left on the sides. So this one will go on here. So your mask will look like that, and you'll have these all stitched in place down each side. Now after you've done that, you take your piece of Violine. You see I've pleated mine as an individual piece, and you put your 2 pieces of mask together. So you've got this one here, you've got this one that you've pleated, and you pop them together. Now make sure that the pleats on your mask are running in the same direction, so I've got them running this way and this way, so you pop that together. This is actually the one that I need, because this has got this is actually stitched, and it's got without the pins, because you don't want the pins in the middle of your work. So this one goes together like that. Now you can, if you wanted to, stitch that in place first so nothing moves, and then you can pop on top of there your Violine. So I want to follow the same direction of my pleats, so my pleats are all running this way. So I'll just open this up so you can see exactly what I've got. So you've got one part of the mask on there, you've got this one, so you're creating a sandwich. This is right side, this is right side, so we've got right sides facing. Then you pop your Violine in on the top there. Now I would recommend that you would pin this together and do all your stitching from looking at your actual fabric and not the Violine, because you can actually follow these stitching lines that you've actually put those little rectangles in on, these ones here. So what I want you to do now is sew all the way around the mask. And I've got the sewing machine on, so I'll just pin this together and I'll sew all the way around, just to let you see how simple it is. I mean, the longest part of this mask is the actual folding all of the pleats in. That's actually what takes the most time. So you can see I'm just pinning away from the edge. So I'm going to run round on the sewing machine now, and the part to leave open on these masks, I would leave open about 1.5 inches on the pleated side, so you can turn your mask through at that point. So I'll just pop over to the machine, I'll just stitch this in. Seam allowance is all 1/4 inch all the way around. Little forward and back stitch to start, down to the corner, and make sure you've just come clear of that little tab on the side, because we need to thread the elastic through there and we don't want it to be stitched across to close it. Coming up to the next corner. And just want to be on the line, that's it. So straight across. clear of the little casing for the elastic and down on the last. Down to the last corner. And just leaving about 1.5 inches opening so we can actually turn the mask through. That's it. So once you've done that, just double check that you've got everything nice and in line. Pop your pins out. And if you've got any excess Vilene, just trim it away and keep it nice and tidy. And where you've got your corners, just snip across. Careful of your stitches. Tidying that up as well. Across that corner. And the little gap that we left to turn through is in the side. So you turn the whole mask through. So you turn this all the way through. The important thing is when you're going round is not to actually sew on these, on the openings of the casing, and you'll never know that until you pull it through. Normally you can feel where they are, that's it. So that one's actually pulled through, and where you've got a little bit of your fabric here, where we've just pulled through on this little opening here, that'll just actually hand stitch with a needle, just a little catch stitch along there, and that'll secure that. So that's your mask turned through. Now these little sides here, the reason I've done the mask this way is because when you put your elastic in, you can actually draw it in to fit. Now for these masks, I've cut my elastic to be 10 inches. And then the elastic, I did have a safety pin somewhere. The elastic is just threaded into the side. So it's threaded into the side, like that. And with Liberty Lawn as well, I mean, you know, I've just folded those and pressed those sides in. Liberty Lawn doesn't fray. If you were to use any other fabric, then I would probably put a seam on those pieces. And then what I've done here, I've just tied a little knot very close to the end. You can always close, you know, if you get this mask to fit you perfectly, you can always close up these little casings here just to stop that knot from appearing when you're wearing your mask. And then you just sort of pull your knot so it's hidden and out of sight in the casing. So I'll cut another piece of elastic. So about 10 inches. Just a very small knot, and it's just got a little bit of hand stitching left to do. I mean, out of 25 centimetres of Liberty, you will get 3 masks, which is about £5.25, so about £1.75 a mask, which is not bad for a Liberty mask. Plus they're very, very light to wear. So, I mean, I know this one is not quite finished, but that's the end result, apart from a little bit of hand stitching on the inside there. You could actually go down with your sewing machine if you wanted to and put a top stitching on there as well. It's another way you could actually finish it off. And then you just pop it on. And that's your mask made. Very easy. Should actually pop it over your nose as well. That's it. So I hope you've enjoyed the little tutorial, and I hope you make some. And while I've just got you on there, I just wanted to thank you as well for all the scrub bags that are here. And I will be organising a collection very soon as well. And these are going to Lanchester Road Hospital and Middlesbrough. So if you have any, then if you wanted to pop them on my doorstep for next weekend, I'll organise a collection. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy making your masks. See you again. Bye bye.